Good morning, everyone. I am teacher Jarrett. And today we are going to be talking about a folk tale. So the genre of our story today is a folk tale. And the essential question is, how do animals' bodies help them, right? So last week we talked about a bat's body, right? And then before that we talked about some giraffes or elephants, right? So today we are going to read about how a beaver's tail helps him. So here's a beaver. So now remember, this is a folk tale, right? So it's nonfiction, but it's meant to teach us a story, okay? So let's go to the next page. All right, so the title of our story is called A Tale of a Tail. So now this is a play on words, right? Because tail is what comes out of an animal, right? They have a little tail behind them, or maybe they have a big tail. If it's a big dog, they have a big tail, right? And this tail, T-A-L-E, means story, okay? So it's a story about a tail. It's a play on words because these two words sound the same. But once you see them, T-A-L-E and T-A-I-L, you can see that they're different. Okay? Okay. Long ago, there lived a beaver named Ray. Ray was quite proud of his nice thick tail. He spent a lot of time brushing it and fluffing it. Ah, look. I have a splendid tail, Ray bragged. It is the best tail that an animal can have. So remember, we learned the word splendid, and that means amazing, right? Or incredible, or awesome. And then we also learned the word animal, and that's just, an animal is a type of creature, right? Yeah. So we can see that this beaver named Ray has a long, fluffy tail, right? It's almost like a dog, very long or longer than a dog, and so soft and nice, right? So we know that beaver tails today don't look like this, right? Beaver tails today are like this, and they're hard. So they're some pretty thin too. So let's see what the next page says. One fine day in April, Ray went out. It's a nice day to chop wood, he said. So Ray got his axe. He chopped a big tree 8 times. Now remember, we learned the word 8. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 8. It's a number. So we can see here's Ray with an axe chopping down a tree. There's a little bunny rabbit watching him, and there's his long tail behind him. Let's see the next page. The big tree swayed this way and that. Then it fell on top of Ray's tail. Oh no. Ray tugged and tugged at his tail. He gasped when he pulled it out. So we can see before Ray's tail was big and fluffy, right? But after, oh, look, we can see where he chopped it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a big one, so that's probably 2 times. 8. So we can see the tree fell on his tail, and now his tail looks flat. Let's see what the next page says. My tail is flat, Ray wailed. The sun looked down at him. She could tell that Ray felt bad about his tail. Oh, here's the sun. Oh, look. The sun looks sad here. The sun looks sad here too, like she wants to help. And remember, we learned the word about, right? About means to be concerning something. So Ray felt bad concerning his tail, right? Or because of his tail. Oh no, he had a beautiful tail before and now it is flat. A flat tail will help you swim fast, the sun explained. A flat tail can send a signal too. Just slap it on the water. That made Ray happy. So the sun was telling Ray that there's lots of important ways he can use a flat tail. And now Ray is happy. So let's see the next page. I have a special tail, yelled Ray. Remember, special means important or unique. Then Ray slapped his tail on the water. Slap, slap, slap. Slap, slap, slap. His pals came running. Do you want our help? They asked. Remember, our is all of us, right? So if you have a group and you say our, you're talking about that whole group, okay? So his friends, the birds and the owl and the rabbit, asked if he needed their help. I want to give you a ride, said Ray. Hop on my tail. I will carry you across the lake. And Happy Ray swam off as fast as a fish. So we learned the word give, right? Give means you have something and then you present it to someone else, right? You give it to them, you present it to them for free, right? That's the word give. Now, if you sell something, remember we learned the word sell too. First, someone gives you money. Then you give something to someone else, right? Or you can say then you sell that to the person. If you just give someone something, you usually don't accept money, okay? So in this example, Ray wants to give his friends a ride for free, right? So then he says, I will carry you across the lake. So carry means usually carry means to pick something up and move it. But in this case, it can also mean to transport. So he's taking them across the lake, or he's carrying them across the lake. Or you can say he's transporting them across the lake, okay? And so then we saw that Ray is happy now, that he has a tail that is very useful, right? Before, his tail just looked good, but he really couldn't use it for anything. After his tail got smushed flat, his tail became very useful. So he was happy. So now we have a question here. Make connections. How did Ray's new tail help him? So we saw that Ray's new tail helped him get his friends to come, right? It also is helping him swim and carry his friends with him, right? So those are some good ways that his tail can help him. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next page. Now we're going to learn about comprehension. So remember, comprehension is learning and understanding what you read, okay? Because reading the words is important, but understanding the words that you are reading is even more important, okay? Okay, so now we're going to talk about sequence. The sequence is the order of events in a story. Think about what happens first, next, then, and last in the folk tale. So we talked about sequence before, right? We do our retell charts where we go first, then we go next, then we go then we go last, right? So that helps us retell the story. So we're going to do that for this folktale on the next page. But first, let's do some exercises. Find text evidence. Find out what happens first in the story. So what happens first, right? So this is the first page of the story. Long ago, there lived a beaver named Ray. Ray was quite proud of his nice thick tail. He spent a lot of time brushing and fluffing it. So the first thing that happens in the story is that we see Ray with his nice thick tail, right? So that's the first thing. The very first part of the story is the introduction, where they tell us who Ray is. But the first thing that happens is that Ray has a thick tail that he's proud of and that he brushes a lot, right? So let's go to this page. This is our first, next, then, and last chart, remember? We usually do this on the side, and I make the chart ourselves, right? Myself. But today, the chart is already here in the story. So let's talk about it. So first, Ray really liked his thick, bushy tail a lot, right? That's the first part, and we can see that here. Ray was quite proud of his nice, thick tail. So that's the first thing that happens. So next, a tree fell and made Ray's tail flat. He was sad. Let's make a sad face together. Ready? Yeah, that's a good sad face. All right. So that was next. So now then the sun, here's the sun, explains how a flat tail will help Ray. Right? So then the sun, Ray was sad because he didn't have his fluffy, bushy tail. He had a flat tail. So Ray thought that the flat tail was bad, so he was sad. But the sun explained to Ray how a flat tail was actually very good, right? And how a flat tail will help Ray. Yeah. So then, or last, we can see Ray's flat tail helps him send a signal, swim fast, and give his pals a ride. So remember the very last page, the last two pages, we can see Ray would slap the water with his big tail, right? Because it was hard. So if the water's here, Ray would slap the water like this. Slap, 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 right? And then he could swim fast across the lake and take his friends too, because the tail was hard, so the friends could stand on it, right? So that's the last part of the story. So Ray was sad before, but once the sun explained to him how his flat tail is actually better than a thick bushy tail, Ray was happy. So your turn. Talk about the sequence of events in A Tale of a Tale. So that's what we did just now, right? So now you can take some time and do this again and again and again and practice reading, okay? Okay. Now we are talking about writing and grammar. Okay, so we are going to be doing readers too. Word choice. Craig used words to tell what sounds the animals made. Now we're talking about animals and the sounds they make, okay? So, Craig's folktale. Bees were in their hive. Buzz. Bear was hungry. Yum, yum. I'll get some honey, he said. Buzz, buzz. My paw was stung, Bear yelled. So we can see that the bees were in their hive, and the hive is where they make honey, right? So we can see right here, this is a hive. It usually hangs from a tree or maybe on a house, right? And bees make the buzz sound, right? If you ever listen to a bee, you can always hear zzz in your ear. And if you hear that, then you run away, right? Because you don't want to get stung when they go, oh, right? So Bear was hungry though. So he said, yum, yum. He wanted to get some honey from the beehive. But the bees buzz, buzz around him, and then they stung him, right? So then he said, my paw was stung, Bear yelled. So that means he probably didn't get the honey, right? So we can see that the bees were protecting their honey, right? So they made the sound. Oh, here now it says, your turn. Tell what sound words Craig chose. So we have one sound word. So the bees made the sound buzz, right? And now another sound word for the bear. He said that the bear went yum, yum, right? So not all bears make that sound. Sometimes when bears are hungry, they make that sound, okay? But usually bears go roar, right? But this is a fictional story that Craig wrote. It's a folktale. So we can see the bees go buzz, the bear goes yum yum, and that's it. So now we have a little time. Let's make a chart about some other animal sounds that we know. Okay? Okay. So let's start out with a dog. Let's start out with a cat. So a cat makes what sound? Meow. Right? Meow. So a cat goes meow. Meow, meow, right? And so in some languages, the animals make different sounds, right? Because some people have different sounds that they use. But in English, a cat will say meow. And let's do a dog. A dog can say either woof, woof, or grrr. So these are two different sounds that a dog can make. A dog can go woof, 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 right? Or if the dog is angry, he can go grrr, right? So there's two different sounds dogs make. And they make other sounds too. Sometimes they may go woo, woo, woo. But these are the most common sounds that dogs can make. Now, let's go to another animal, a horse. Oh, let's do a cow first. So a cow goes moo, moo, right? So a cow goes moo. If you listen to cows on the farm, that's what it sounds like. And then they talk to each other. Maybe they go moo, and then another cow will go moo. Right? Yeah. So let's think of another animal. A pig. What sound does a pig make? A pig goes oink, oink, or we'll just say oink, oink. So sometimes when I was in school, our teacher would say, look like a pig and go oink, oink. And so then we would do this. We would put our nose up like this, and then we would go oink, 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 oink. That's like a pig sound. Sometimes pigs also go, right? They make the sound with their throat. But when we read stories, pigs usually say oink, 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 oink. Those are like little pig sounds. So let's go to one more animal, and then we'll go to the next page. Not a horse, a duck. So I think all of you have seen a duck, right? And so ducks make the sound quack, quack. Quack, 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 right? So those are the sounds ducks make. Quack, 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 right? Yeah. So if you see a duck, that's the sound that they're making. And now we'll do one more. We'll do a horse too. Horse. So horse makes the sound neigh, neigh, right? So this is how we spell it. Or you can spell it like this. We'll do it easy. Neigh, neigh. They go neigh, neigh, right? So now these are all the sounds that animals make for people who speak American English. So you can practice some of these now. And then when you see a dog or a cat today, you can say meow, and then see if the cat talks to you, right? Okay, now let's go to our next page. Okay, so our last page today is writers. Was and were. Use was to tell about one person, animal, or thing in the past. Use were to tell about more than one person, animal, or thing in the past. Okay, so bees were in their hive. So bees, there's an S here, right? So that means it's plural. So there were bees in the hive, or bees, S, were in their hive. We can see bear, see, no S, just one bear, was hungry. Okay, so these are similar rules to is and are, right? Is for one person or thing or animal. Are is for two or more people or animals or things. So that's in the present tense. So you can say, he is hungry, right? That means right now he is hungry. Or they are hungry. So right now those people are hungry. But now we're learning about the past tense. Okay, so that means in the past. So now we can say, yesterday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I was hungry. So that means the day before, in the past, you can say, I was hungry. Or if it's two people or animals or things, you can say they were hungry, right? So yesterday, the bees were hungry, right? Okay, so now let's find another sentence with was in Craig's folktale. Okay, so let's find another word with was. So here we have the bees were in their hive, right? We have Bear was hungry. And here we see my paw was stung, right? So paw, no S, just one paw, was stung. So now we can say if he put both hands into the beehive and they both got stung, then we would say my paws were stung, okay? But only one of his paws were stung. So that's why we say my paw was stung, okay? So our last part of our lesson today is to make a couple sentences ourselves, which we already did, but I will write them down for us. So we can say, yesterday I was at my grandmother's house, right? So yesterday I was at my grandmother's house. So that means yesterday, right? The day before. In the past, this is telling where you were and that yesterday I was at my grandmother's house. Now we can do were. Last year, my friends were all taller than me. This year, I am taller than all of them. Right? So here we can say last year. So again, this is the past. My friends were, because you have friends, were all taller than me. So they were all taller than me. This year, so now, this year, I am taller than all of them. So in 1 year, I grew, and got really tall. And then I was taller, and now I'm taller than all of my friends. Okay? Okay, good. So now today you can practice using these words. But now it is time for me to say bye-bye, because we are at the end of our lesson today. All right? So we learned so much about Beavers and how he got his tail, and about other things too, like grammar. All right? So today, take some time and learn. Practice some animal sounds, practice was and were, and have a good day. And I will see you next time, okay? Next time we will talk about more animals and how their bodies are useful, okay? So I will see you next time, okay? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.